Hey!
He's going to talk to us later, but he has made some smoothies ahead of time, so we didn't have to listen to the blender. And he's going to pass them out to the live audience. So raise your hand.
It's a live show, so you have like 2 minutes to get
Yeah,
here.
so we have, yeah, that's right. Put some in my glass too, because I'll sip on it, and then we'll get you back up a little later to chat about it.
Oh,
Yay! So nice. Okay, I'm so excited.
If you come to the studio audience, you get
Do they got their own cups, or do you? If you
Here we
not
are.
bring cups.
All right, so I'm just back from a little road
Just
trip.
Sugar.
I went to hush up out there now. Welcome to all our Facebook Live audience. Welcome to our podcast audience, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast bits. I'm going to play this mandolin, which is not the one I usually make. This was my uncle's mandolin, who is since deceased, and it was in very bad shape. And I took it to a luthier friend of mine who remade the bridge, uncollapsed the side, replaced the tuning peg plastic bits, fixed the big hole in it, sanded down the fretboard, and made it playable. And that's something that I'm really pleased to be able to be playing. My uncle's mandolin, Duke Bar, he was a fine man. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Oh yeah, well things will change and leaves will fall and it will rain. Transformed before your eyes, no time for chasing. Why me? Why'd that happen to me? Oh, you never know just how life is gonna go. You jump in your boat and row, row, row. Jump in your boat and row, row, row. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we do it would. All right, everybody sing it. Ready? At home and here in the audience. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Oh yeah, you gotta aim high and go for your pie in the sky. Go ahead, trust yourself, 'cause everything will right itself. Oh yeah, well life's a stream, so go ahead now, follow your dream. Jump in your boat, row, row, row. Jump in your boat, row, row, row. All together now. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. All right, we have different guests here today. We have Laura, who just popped in to talk about suac. We have Lev talking about smoothie making and other exciting things in his life. And we have Sam Henderson, who is the mayor of Gulfport, Florida, and he is here to give us some good news about Gulfport, but also to share his artistic side with us. And so with that said, Sam and Laura, please come to the stage. Now, we have an exciting day. We have a trifecta of Lauras here today. I am Laura Shepard. We have Sam Henderson and his lovely wife, Laura. Hello, welcome. Here, go ahead and sit down.
Thanks.
And hi, Laura. And then we have Laura, who's going to talk about suac. So it's a very special day because we have 3 Lauras.
A lot of Lauras.
A lot of Lauras. My goodness. Oh, I didn't even taste my smoothie.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. Okay, it's worth.
Takes the edge off the sultry day.
Takes the edge off the sultry day. Well, we live in Florida. That's why we live here. Now, you weren't born here, were you?
I was not. I was born in Asheville, North Carolina.
Asheville.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people going to Asheville. A lot of people coming here, but
I know.
And-
A little too many of both.
I know. Well, isn't that something? Because people have to live somewhere, and
That's true.
I'm like, don't come here. But I came here, so
So did
I feel a little bad about that. Laura, where were you born?
Cleveland,
Cleveland,
Ohio.
And where did you all meet?
Wilmington, North Carolina. After I graduated from Kent State, I moved to Wilmington, North Carolina to be at the beach, and I found him there.
At the beach.
At the beach.
Just waiting for her to show up.
You did good. You all did good. It's nice. And you have one daughter?
Yes.
Lovely, polite young woman. I've met her several
Oh,
times.
Yeah, thanks.
She's polite, so I'm pleased.
Yeah,
Do
Brenda
that?
brought her SPC alumni cup.
Okay.
So I could represent.
Yeah, right. Got to be representing. So, Laura, what do you do other than be the Miss Mayor?
Actually,
First Lady of Gulfport.
First Lady flog, as one of my friends coined the term flog. So I used to be a classroom teacher. I taught for Pinellas County Schools for about 11 years. And then I have transitioned into what's called ABA therapy. It stands for Applied Behavioral Analysis. And so I work with kids with autism. Any developmental disability is helped by ABA therapy. But yeah, and actually I just a couple days ago got accepted to a graduate program at UWF that's fully online. So I'll be getting my master's degree and hopefully becoming a board certified behavioral analyst. So that's my goal.
So you'll be a master flog.
Yeah.
Or a flog master, one or the other.
She analyzes
Yeah.
my behavior all the time.
I know. How is it? How is it?
We're working on it. We're getting there.
Oh my God.
Baby steps.
That's terrible. All right. And Sam, other than mayoring, what do you do?
I teach earth science and environmental science at St. Pete College, just as an adjunct.
Mm-hmm. And
And before that, I did environmental remediation for a bunch of years and brownfield remediation, Superfund sites, worked at MacDill and Tyndall Air Force bases, cleaning up the old places where they did the, fired up the jet fuselages and gasoline JP4 going into the ground and then figuring out how far it went and how to clean it up. So,
How do you clean it up?
interesting. The sad part is, which is why I changed my career, is that you only clean it up a little bit. You can't get it all.
Right.
It's way better to not screw it up in the first place than to do it and try to figure it out later.
yeah, probably that way with behaviors too. Now, the thing that, I don't know if everybody knows this about you, but you were our poet laureate for a while.
I was for 2016, 2017.
Right, and how does one become the poet laureate of Gulfport, Florida?
the
We
cir-
have a poet laureate, thank you very much.
That's true. It's Peter Hargitay right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Peter's fantastic, so I'm honored to be in that group with him. But the Circle of Friends at the library decided that they wanted to do that program, so they kind of put out a call to anyone in Gulfport that writes, and you submit 3 of your original works, and then you do it anonymously, and the board of 5 people reads them, and they select who they think is the best, and they pick it. But everybody who submits, this is the best part, everybody who submits goes in an anthology that you can get at the library. So everybody who put their stuff in is available, and you can go to the Gulfport Library and get it. So we've got some really good writers in this town.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage more people to do it because it's a lot of fun.
Right,
Yeah.
and what are the duties of the,
It kind of fits in with Mayor, so it worked out a little bit. It worked out pretty well because things I was going to be going to anyway. Now I just go to that thing and then I read a poem. So you kind of you try to foster and advocate for literature and writing. And you had a little workshop of mine that I did and invited people, and we just wrote on the fly. Picked a bunch of like short forms and pick a topic, and everybody just writes on the fly. So that was kind of fun. But it's basically just to encourage people to use that form of artistic expression and put all the things inside them out there, because it's always been a good release for me, and I think it's a lot of people would benefit from it.
would you like to read us a little poem?
Sure, I will.
Why don't you read us a little poem? Or do you want to give us some background on your little poem?
Yeah. I'm going, let's see, which one will I read here? Do you want me to read the one with all the cussing?
No
No.
cussing.
Just kidding.
Absolutely. Get some behavior.
I'm not gonna read one with
All
all
right,
the cussing.
he does have poems with cussing in them. He's capable of cussing.
Literature. You can't limit literature.
Oh my
But for
gosh,
this-
now I'm a censor all of
for
a
these
sudden.
That's a dark turn.
I'm just kidding, I won't do that. All right, I'm just gonna read a short one, and if you want me to do one later, I'll be
Okay,
happy to
well,
do it. So this is one, it's not about Gulfport, this is actually one about where I grew up. In sound sleep and daydreams, the Appalachian mists billow easily down steep green slopes. meandering as the ghosts of dawn through the silently swaying timber. The dogwood and rhododendron sigh in church whispers, building to an exultant crescendo that sweeps through this mountainside congregation. Starlings ride past on the invisible fragrant wings of summer. My father tells me to listen to the wind because this is the only place on earth where it sounds just so. I hear it everywhere I go, like an epiphany collapsing the darkness, carrying me home to my Smoky Mountains.
When did you write that?
About 12 years ago, I guess. Yeah. We went up for a trip to see everybody, and
You were moved by the
yeah.
by the starlings and the dogwood.
Yeah, it's good to have a lot of homes. Like Cleveland is now one of my homes. Gulfport's one of my homes. That just happens to be my original home. So.
Now, the two of you are also in, or have been in different bands.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a band called the Hot Tub Club, which has gone the way of other good things.
Right, right.
Which how'd you all come up with that name anyways? It's a funny name, I like that.
I've been in several bands throughout the years, and it seems to me that the task of picking the name is one of the most divisive and potentially controversial things that band members have to do. So what typically ends up happening, which is the case for Hot Tub Club, is you have a pending gig, you gotta tell them you're something, somebody throws out a wacky idea and everybody is sick of talking about it, and so then you agree on whatever crazy, stupid name that somebody just threw out there.
Right. Well, I don't think it was stupid, I thought it was kind of funny. It was
I
very
like that
festive.
name.
I thought it
Yeah.
was
It's a fun name.
like, let's mix it up there in the
Right.
Hot Tub Club. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but you're working on a new project.
Right.
What is the new project?
It's two of the same people we played with before. Two really good guitar players. One of them is also a bass and keyboard player, and two new folks who are also our Gulfport peeps. A gentleman named Matt who runs Brooklyn South down on Central Avenue. By the way, really good sandwiches, so I'll plug him a little bit. He's going to be our drummer. He lives right over across from City Hall. And a gentleman named Casey, who's a father-to-be. They may be at the hospital having a
Yeah,
baby right
any
now.
moment now. Yeah.
He's playing bass for us, and he's a really talented guy. So we're currently getting it together and trying to do something fairly alternative rock, blues-based. Definitely blues into the spectrum, and do a little bit of original writing and cover some stuff that we really like. Try to get it together for a November 2nd gig at the Tangerine Blues Fest.
Okay. So what's the name of the new band?
Well,
They'll tell you in November.
For that gig, we already had to give them a name. So for that gig, one gig only, we will be My Viking Funeral.
Why for only one?
Because they asked, and I had to give them something that moment. So,
That's in the original story. Something
so
must
no
be
one
come
got
up.
any
Right.
input, so that will not be the full name of the band.
Right.
Just for that gig,
Just
My
for that
Viking
gig.
Funeral it
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, Viking Funeral sounds more like a punk band.
yeah.
Like emo goth punk.
Yes. Well, as long as we brought up the Blues Festival, tell us a little bit about this Blues Festival.
Yeah, we've had it for, this will be, I believe, the 9th one. We had a couple of year gap in there, but now that the park's done down there at 49th, the Charlie Market Square area, there's a nice built-in area for bands to play. There's power run to it, so it's going to be like a little bit more like formalized space to do stuff like that. Because the ones we had in the past were great. I mean, Damon Fowler and Selwyn Birchwood and Albert Castiglia and Betty Fox. I mean, they got really good regional acts to come in there. And just having something like that where you've got this good music coming in, and just I'm super partial to blues. So just having that in Gulfport to me is like a really big deal. And so I'm really glad to see that coming back and into a good space where we can really accommodate people a little better than running extension cords across the street and plugging them in at the garage and things like that. So I just think it's important for Gulfport to embrace all the arts, you know, whether it's poetry, whether it's music, whether it's visual, whether it's performance. So I think I just have a particular attachment to that one.
Right, because you like
Yeah,
the blues.
it's in our neighborhood. I like blues and I love music, so yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty positive. Do you want to read another little poem?
Sure.
Yeah.
No cussing. Okay.
No cussing.
Still no cussing.
And Laura, don't think you're getting off easy because we're gonna get you to do something with words all over here.
All right. I have one about my cat that I really love.
Okay, we'd love to. All this is for cat lovers, or I don't know.
So there
Is it
is
for cat
one.
lovers?
There is one cuss word in it,
Which
but
one
it's
is
not
it?
a bad one.
Which
It's the B word.
You were.
call it itch instead.
Okay. Will do.
Okay, the B word that sounds with itch is going to be replaced by
Perfect.
stitch.
This really is a poem about my cat, and it's important to me because this was the toughest cat I ever met. Ironically, her name was Princess Pinky Paw, which is the least tough name that you could possibly give an animal.
But it might be a good name for a
Pinky
band.
Paw.
Princess Pinky Paw.
Oh, yeah. Princess Pinky P3. I remember the day I met you, a tranquil day in the Ohio summer, Southside Cleveland. For us, it was tranquility broken. You were an infant, eyes still pasted shut, only 2 weeks from the womb. You and your siblings were pitched like litter into the Rocky River by ignorant boys following the orders of horrid parents. I saw you faintly move and twist in the water from a height on the other bank. I exploded in fury, an eruption of disbelief. After a hard run across the railway trestle and down the slippery grade, with the help of one repentant boy, I fished you out. Wet, small, decrepit, unseeing, and barely alive. I wanted to name you Flounder. We fed you formula from a bottle in the work trailer, in the studio at Chillicothe, and our hands where you bit our fingers with your sharp, tiny teeth. We did not think you would make it, and now you were 10 years old, the queen of the street. Healthy, hearty, stealthy, crazy but cuddly, you still bite my fingers, even though they haven't held a bottle for you since 2003. Your nose is always scarred from perpetually protecting your turf, which you do so well. You are the picture of independence, but we always put the food out for you anyway. We are distant, we are close, we are the only ones who know. And as you lay beside me, I can recall as if it was this minute how loud I yelled, how fast I ran, how hard you clung to life when they threw you in the river. Yeah,
Yeah, sad story, but
I know, it's a happy ending.
yeah.
There's a part 2, but I don't want to cry on camera.
Now, in your band, Laura, what do you do in the band?
I sang.
You sing? Will you sing something for us right this second? Just
Sure.
off the top of your head, go. Sing.
Sure. Okay. Sing. This is a Janis Joplin song that's typically performed a cappella.
Okay.
Since
Okay.
I don't play an instrument well enough to accompany myself. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends. Worked hard for my lifetime. No help from my friends. So, oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? Lord, won't you buy me a color TV? Dialing $4 is trying to find me. I'll wait for delivery each day until 3. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a color TV? Oh Lord, won't you buy me a night on the town? I'm counting on you, Lord. Please don't let me down. Prove that you love me and buy the next round. Well, Lord, won't you buy me a night on the town? One more time, everybody. Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends. Worked hard all my lifetime. No help from my friends. Well, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes? Gotta have a big fancy ending. Then. Woo!
Okay, well, I'm going to get you all back up here at the end of the show to talk a little bit more about Gulfport, and thank you for singing.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
We'll have to have a picture of all us, Laura, before we
Sounds
go.
good.
Yeah. All right, Lev, come on
Hey.
up here. Woo! We've got Lev. Lev, the
I got more smoothies.
Smoothie Operator.
Hello.
Ooh,
More smoothies if anyone wants any.
I'd like a little more.
This is
smoothie.
actually, I forgot to put cardamom in the first one. This is what it's actually supposed to taste like
Okay.
if y'all want.
Well, okay. So we've had the first and now the second. So what is in our smoothie?
What is in our smoothie? So this is one of my this is my latest and greatest concoction, and it is, of course, like all my best ideas, it was totally unintentional. It was just, we sold out of everything except for some mangoes, and I had beet powder, and I had some cardamom, because we were making mango lassies, and sunflower sprouts, because we were at OBJ, Orange Blossom Jamboree. Lovely festival that happened earlier this month. And Orange Blossom Jamboree, woo! And we sold out by Sunday, so we just had a few things left. We made this smoothie, and this lovely guy named Jeff he's got a farm somewhere out east of Tampa, and he grows sprouts. So he brought me this big bag. He's like, make me a smoothie with this. I was like, okay, and you could just pay me in sunflower sprouts. That's great. And so then I had a bunch left over, and we threw them in, and it just, I love it. I love the flavor of it. So we're calling it the St. Pete Sunrise. Got sunflower sprouts, beet powder, makes it this beautiful color.
I know, I was
And
on
you
it
can
with
just-
strawberries, but the beet powder.
That's our whole thing. We do nutritious disguised as delicious. So we're just trying to create, you know, we're trying to be as cheesy as possible. I mean, our name is Smoothie Operator, so it sticks, you know, whatever. I love it.
Yeah.
So this one, the beet powder, you can kind of sneak it in. The cardamom's a really lovely spice that's super versatile. The Ethiopians use it to make a spicy, to make food in their spicy blend of spices. And so it could be in a savory dish, it could be in a sweet dish like a mango lassi. So we usually make mango lassi, and we just make it vegan. It's so good, just mangoes by themselves. The yogurt is nice. We've actually found a way to make mango lassi vegan. You just put a few pineapples in there, and it gives it that nice tart, kind of cheesy flavor that you might get with a kefir or a yogurt. So that's kind of what we do. We do a little bit of vegan alchemy, trying to bring out. We have a blueberry cheesecake smoothie on board that totally tastes like blueberry and cheesecake, and it's just the right combination of flavors to
Now,
make things happen.
why are you running a vegan smoothie operation?
It's a good question, because I myself am not vegan, but I was at that. Well, really, this all started. I was living in Michigan on a berry farm, and we were growing lots of different berries, and the smoothie truck was just an idea to bring we were growing gooseberries, medicinal things like josta berries, sea berries, honey berries, all these
All right,
old-timey
somebody
berries.
taking notes out there?
Yeah.
Look up all these berries.
It was so funny.
Tell me these berries again. What kind of josta berries?
Well, my favorite is gooseberries.
Gooseberries,
And
yeah. I know
josta
them.
berry is a more medicinal variety. It's a hybrid between a gooseberry and, I'm forgetting the name right now, but a less palatable, less edible berry. So very medicinal. You know, the more bitter it is, the more medicinal. So I'm trying to find the flavors that, like, you add a little bit of beetroot, which in a teaspoon there's over one whole beet, and that kind of balances the sweetness of the smoothie, makes it a little bit more mineralized. So when you add certain medicinal bitter flavors, you can sneak them into smoothies pretty easily, and that way you don't have to eat a whole few beets or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with beets. I just had some borscht yesterday.
Borscht. We're borscht.
Cold borscht. We're in Russian gazpacho season, so.
And you were telling me about your blender. This is your grandmother's blender?
This is no, my partner Zuzu, who couldn't be here
Oh,
today.
that's right.
Shout out to Zuzu and her friend Sarah, getting married soon. Hi guys, they're having their bachelorette party.
Bachelorette.
Alice told her, honey, I'll take you on vacation to St. Pete Beach someday. But I got beat to it. She's having a bachelorette party out there this weekend, so she couldn't be here. But this is her grandma, Mima. Her grandma gave us this blender a long time ago, and it was it's like, I don't know when exactly it's from, but it's a Waring Fortuna 950, and they really don't make them like this anymore. This thing's been around forever, and it's still kicking. So you don't really need. You can find a great blender at any of these eBay. You don't have to get it. We use Vitamix on board because we have to. We make so many smoothies, but I think we could use this on board if we had to as well in a pinch. And you could find them for $50 to $100. You could find a retro Vitamix were made in the 60s. You know, now they're designed for obsolescence, and you have to constantly be buying parts from them. But back in the day, it was like all one indestructible part. So that's definitely you need a good blender to make a good fully blended, not chunky smoothie. But you can find them
Not
for cheap.
chunky smoothie.
Yeah. You don't want a chunky, you want a smoothie.
Now, when you
Especially
say
when you're putting in greens, because we use a lot of greens and things and frozen foods, and it's just not as palatable unless you have a.
right, because if it's kind of stringy, greeny, you don't want
Yeah.
it. But if it's all blended up, you don't even know it's green.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know that there were sunflower sprouts in it.
Right. And sunflower sprouts, just before I forget, I was thinking earlier today how awesome it is to eat sprouts, especially in any summer, but especially in the Florida summer, because we can't grow greens really here that well in the summer. So this is a great way to get greens, and sunflower sprouts are 30 times more nutritious than I think the next vegetable. Like sprouts are just in general like so much more nutritious. They have all of that life force, and they're more bioavailable, and they're like crispy and juicy, and kind of like you get a nice refreshing crunch out of them. So it's a win-win in Florida, and you can grow them at home here. So you can grow them for yourself if you have the gumption for it, because it takes like to stay on top of it. You got like 4 or 5 mason jars going at all times.
Yeah, you got to be paying attention
Yeah.
with sprouts. Now, you have a truck, a smoothie truck?
Yeah, we have a food truck, and we focus on smoothies, but we mainly do organic, and we try to do locally sourced, which is so much more challenging than I ever could have imagined. Just finding quality, locally sourced food, let alone at a good price, just finding it. So I'm trying to make more connections with local growers and.
All right, if you're growing something smoothie-ish,
Yeah.
get in touch with Lev.
Yeah, especially, and I'm totally open to doing seasonal things. Like now, we did the mango smoothie today because I just couldn't wait for mango season. So I'm just like, all right, we're doing mangoes. We did them like a few weeks early, but mango season's coming. We'll be at a mango tasting. Oh yeah, these are the ingredients here for the smoothie. All you have, there's no extra sugar at all. You have your mangoes, frozen mangoes, or fresh mangoes in season. You have a little beet powder, sunflower sprouts, and cardamom, and a little bit of banana for creaminess. Our secret ingredient that we use in most of our smoothies is avocado. If you don't remember anything else from this, just the avocado. It's nutritious, and it makes everything the perfect consistency, and it won't separate. You can have your smoothie just sitting there for like an hour. It's an emulsifier. But this one doesn't need it because the mango is also a perfect emulsifier, so mango's another good trick. We don't use anything like, different smoothies, places we use carrageenan or different kind of gums to like hold everything together. Everything here is just whole fruit smoothies and vegetables.
And how hard was it to get yourself a truck going?
It was pretty challenging. We got like a real, we picked it up for a deal. It was a lemon. We had to like do a lot of rebuilding, which it was like we had just enough capital to get going, but we didn't anticipate all of the repairs and everything we'd need. So if I could do it all over again, I'd probably get a trailer because then I wouldn't be attached to the engine and all the problems.
Yeah.
Just as we were getting going in Michigan, our engine exploded. And so then we had to take a 2-year hiatus just to get back, and we made it to Florida. That was kind of like we were trying to regroup, and we were like, all right, we realized quickly in Michigan, smoothies, and there's like 2 days of summer. And so we were when I moved to Michigan, it was the hottest summer ever, and I was like, wow, this is like California, let's do smoothies here. And that was only one summer like that. It was a freak of nature. And then it was the coldest winter ever, probably.
And like a food truck that's legal in Michigan is also legal in Florida?
No, every municipality has their own. Every state and every municipality has their own, regulations. St. Pete, Tampa technically is one of the reasons we came here. I went to Eckerd College for a year, so and my partner Zuzu used to live here and went to Eckerd. She's an old Eckerd alum as well. So we knew we loved the area. We knew we wanted to be here, and we knew Tampa was really great for food trucks. But at the same time, there's a lot of food trucks here. It's pretty saturated, and also the way that we're such a big tourist destination that the restaurants aren't thrilled about food trucks necessarily parking on their corner, understandably. So there's a lot of restrictions around. Most of the places where there is foot traffic, you can't really have a food truck parked, unfortunately, in St. Pete. So we're trying to figure, and it's a work in progress, I'm sure. Clearwater's figured out some interesting ways to incorporate food trucks, but St. Pete Beach doesn't even really let them exist. So we need to, I feel like certain municipalities have figured it out and could be a good example for how to create mutual benefit for everybody, because it really is I do believe it adds to any town the ability to have like people that are really focused. The cool thing about having a food truck is you have I play like every role, so I have control over the whole operations, and I'm really able to invest in my ingredients, invest in the being able to do something just a little more, like put a little bit of my spirit in there. And I know a lot of chefs that really because it's a food truck and it has the connotation of like the chuck wagon or something, we go the extra mile to make it extra good, extra flavorful, and extra fresh, because we have only small storage space, so everything's like fresh.
Fresh
so yeah,
is
we're
good.
hoping to grow together with all the towns as we're all becoming a big city here, trying to figure it out together.
Well, I like the fact that you care about yourself and your community. What's this? You brought this. You have other little.
Yeah.
You have other interests.
Well, yeah. These days, in the career age or something. I mean, who wants a successful career these days, right? You gotta have a diversified portfolio. So I have a lot of different businesses.
You've got lots of power tools.
Well, I'm going to festivals, and we saw this guy using a car buffer on somebody's back. And I actually am a massage therapist as well, and I have this tool which I use in my practice. It's called the Muscle Liberator. It's an old Milwaukee jigsaw. My teacher adapted to be a massage tool.
Give me a little.
All right, you gotta get a little love real quick. There we go.
Woo!
How's that? Now imagine you're at a festival. You haven't slept in 3 days. So our new business that we're gonna take with the smoothie truck is gonna be the body repair shop, and we're just gonna have several therapists there with the heavy artillery massage tools, and maybe we'll give you a little
hands-on.
TLC
I don't know.
as
It's
well.
sort of like the smoothies are all organic, locally sourced, but the back rub is
very it's not local. I think my Thai massage teacher, he has bought so many of these. They actually, to make them into massage tools, he's got to be their number one buyer. Because he has a program and he sells them part of the program, And so they're actually on back order. He's like, man, I can't even find them anymore. I have to place a special order from China. I'm like, wow, dude. Okay.
all right.
We're getting there.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
we're a whole circus now. Coming to a festival near you.
Yeah, we like that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and share your smoothies with
Thank
us.
you
If
for
anybody
having us. I
in the
appreciate
audience
you.
wants a little bit more of this smoothie, I'm sure I'm going to pour some in my glass,
Yeah.
and then we'll share the rest with you all.
And maybe I'll post the recipe on the Facebook page for
Yeah.
our listeners.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Cheers.
And look out for
Alright.
a smoothie operator near you.
Oh yeah, we'll be at the Pride Fest, and then July 7th, Punta Gorda mango tasting, and then the Gourmet Vegan Fest in Tampa on July 27th. So check out our Facebook page. Thank you.
Oh, thank goodness. That was exciting. I don't know whether I'd rather be buffed or sawed. Or what, that was a jigsaw, you said? Isn't this fun? I have this funny old instrument I get to play for a change. Does anybody have any good news they want to share with us? Are we happy to be? Is anybody? My good news is this instrument is playable again. I know I said that at the beginning of the shop, but it took a lot of work. It was all caved in here in the front, and in Fredericksburg I have a luthier named Tom Schiff, and he put it all back together for me, which was a labor of love. So I'm going to play a little song. This is a song about waking up with the sand at your feet. One, 2, 3, 4 days in a week, sitting here sunning with the sand at my feet. Spent all week working at fun, and now I'm going to set the sun. There's plenty to eat, a chicken in the pot. No, that's not all I got. I got friends making me smoothies, and all my friends, they just sing along. 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a week, sitting here sunning with the sand at my feet. Spent all week working at fun, and now I'm going to set the sun. Lots of time for getting things done, and hands upon hands to make it fun. Up is where we all belong, and you could ride there on a song. 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a week, sitting here sunning with the sand in my feet. Spent all week working at fun, and now I'm going to set the sun. Well, if you need it, you could come to me, 'cause I've got plenty, look and see. Oh, of course, my cooking's hot. Will your honey sweeten the pot? 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a week, sitting here sunning with the sand in my feet. Spent all week working at fun, and now I'm going to set the sun. 'Cause we spent all week working at fun. Now Virginia for a little visit. I used to live in Virginia. I moved down here to Florida when my father died to take care of my mama. And my mama has since died. But so I was visiting back in Virginia where I used to live, and people were like, well, aren't you moving back? And I was like, why, no, I live down here where you go on vacation. Why would I move back? So I feel really blessed to live in a town that people spend their whole year saving up money just to come down here and sit. In any case, all right, Laura, will you please join me on the stage? Yay! Hi, Laura. Hello, Laura. Now, I want to thank you, Laura. Sit down. I want to thank you so much for agreeing to talk with us because you were not on the schedule for today, and we like to have a little nonprofit presence, and you just came to be in our little audience or to support Lev or just because you're cool. And so
all of the above.
All of the above. So we drafted you. Now, other than SUAC, we're going to get you on the show one time to talk about what is your other little.
So I'm blogging at Triple Bottom Line Fi about pursuing financial independence in an environmentally and socially conscious way. So being mindful of what I'm investing my money in to achieve financial independence, as opposed to investing mainly in the stock market and extractive industries. I'm trying to find regenerative or sustainable ways to use my money to fund my life and better the world at the same time.
Okay, so one day we're going to get you on the show to talk about that, because that's certainly a subject that I personally am interested in. I got my $100. I want to invest it in something, but we're not talking about that now. Right now, we are talking about SUAC. Can you tell me what it stands for?
Sure. It stands for Sustainable Urban Agriculture Coalition, and it's a nonprofit here that's active in South Pinellas County, so primarily St. Petersburg and Gulfport. It's a all volunteer-led 501c3 nonprofit, so it comes with the good and the bad of having no paid staff and being only able to do what its volunteer board members are able to do. I serve as a board advisor. So I have served on the board before, but I've stepped back off of the board, but I still participate and share my thoughts and give some advice and guidance and volunteer when I'm able to. So the mission of SUAC is to provide education to residents of the southern St. Pete area to grow their own food or produce it, be it beekeeping as you do here, or animal husbandry to the extent that we have that knowledge. So it's education for residents and support and help, and as well as advocacy. So advocating with the city, with the county to improve the regulations that we have in place that affect us as home gardeners, be it the legislation that was recently changed in the state of Florida around being able to have vegetable gardens in your front yard. And I'm not saying we advocated for that had a major impact, but that type of thing locally, we're doing that at the local level as well, trying to get the regulations changed so that more home gardeners can be growing food and have opportunities to sell their food, the produce that they're growing, to Smoothie Operator and food trucks. We do have some local growers, so the advocacy is a big part of it as well. SUAC has played a role in this wonderful project that's percolating here in St. Pete and Gulfport. We have the Enoch Davis Rec Center in St. Petersburg and on the south side, and the Enoch Davis Youth Farm has been established, and that was a collaborative effort of SUAC, the City of St. Pete, and USF Open, many other entities as well, and the first paid corps of interns from St. Pete's CRA, which is, I'm forgetting, it's an area around part of South St. Pete. All the youth that are getting this paid internship to work at the first round of the youth farm will start June 10th. So it's a great project to see percolating here in St. Petersburg, and again, it'll be a great education for those
What
kids.
in the world are they planting in June? We live here in Florida.
So-
For those of you listening someplace else, it's the end of the growing season here.
Mostly this will be a paid internship to, I think, help create the gardens, the structures of the youth farm, as opposed to, and getting the garden beds ready, creating the beds so that it's ready in September and October for the planting. But that said, I would like to say that yes, many of us here have come from northern environments and it's very difficult to grow in the summer, but there are things we can grow in Florida in the summer. And in fact, tomorrow night, so another thing that SUAC does is we have monthly educational meetings that are free and open to the public, also at the Enoch Davis Rec Center, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. the first Monday of every month, unless it's a holiday when it's the following Monday. And this Sunday or Monday, June 3rd at 6:30, we'll be talking about what you can grow in the summer, because there are things we can grow here. I'm sure many of your audience members have heard of okra and eggplant and sweet potatoes. Get your sweet potatoes in the ground. Seminole pumpkins, some other things. If you can broaden your palate and open your mind to some things you might not have eaten before, there are a number of other things that can be grown here. But I don't want to give away the punchline, so come to the SUAC meeting tomorrow night at 6:30 at the Enoch Davis Rec Center.
And how long do those meetings, are they an hour?
An hour and a half typically, till about 8. They close at 8, and usually all of us happy urban agriculture gardeners, you have to kick us out of the building because we're just.
Right, and so is it possible for me to grow something in my yard and sell it to Lev and his smooth trucks? Is that legal?
Not yet.
Yeah, not quite yet.
Not quite yet, but that's in progress. That type of thing is in progress.
Okay, so now, if I were to grow stuff in my backyard to sell it, I can't just go to my farmer's market and sell it?
No, but there is a new option I have to suggest for people.
Okay.
So in St. Petersburg, this wonderful, sustainably minded young couple has opened a business called Kenwood Organics. And I don't remember their street address, but they're
It's
on
on
5th
Fifth
Avenue
North.
North, just east of 34th Street. And they are open to bartering and exchanging with home growers for what they have available in their shop. So if you have a bumper crop of something that's more than what you're going to eat, you could take it into Kenwood Organics and offer it there and see if they'd be interested in bartering with you.
Oh, that's a nice.
That's awesome.
That's
great.
That's great.
All right, and SUAC. I keep wanting to say sumac, you know, like.
It's a plant.
It's a
It's
plant.
appropriate. It's totally appropriate to say
It's
sumac.
appropriate. So you feel like we've done good work here so far?
Yes. Around
you-
urban agriculture?
Yeah, give us some success stories.
Well, I think the youth farm is the biggest one.
Yeah.
That's such a fantastic thing. I think it's going to really put St. Petersburg on the map in terms of urban agriculture, Pinellas County in general. It's a great thing, and we have, actually, there's a Gulfport resident who is an urban planner with the city of St. Petersburg, and she's really the energy behind getting all of this moving forward. And not only the youth farm, but this whole conversation about the legalities of growing and selling and just growing in our yards. So there's a lot of Gulfport energy pushing forward what's happening, so that's really cool.
I know, Gulfport is the coolest. Okay, well, thank you for stepping up and talking about it. And you know what I really want to appreciate? I want to thank you for having served on the board and because any of these nonprofits that go around, there's people that serve on the boards and they're pretty much not paid, and it takes a lot of time, and people are not necessarily pleased with whatever it is you're doing, so we get some complaints. And I really admire your willingness to serve, and I also admire that you're, working on sharing information, how people can invest more. So give us your website again. I know you'll be on the show another time to talk about it, but.
Sure. So let me just
Yes.
give a backstory. So I named my blog Triple Bottom Line Fi. So
FY or? Okay.
FI.com. And that's because when we talk about a bottom line, we typically talk about profit as the only concern, the bottom line. So a triple bottom line is when we equally value people, planet, and profit. So and then FI is financial independence. So thus the name Triple Bottom Line Fi.
Okay, that's what we want. Yay! Okay, we need Laura and Sam back on the stage. You guys are not done. We have to talk more about that.
You sit in the middle.
You sit in the
You're
middle.
more fun
In the
to look
middle
at and
this
listen
time.
to than me.
Yeah. Okay, so how's Gulfport doing with this growing vegetable? Do you guys talk about, is that something?
Good. We've got our little community garden over on Preston, and actually, Lev and Laura both said some really good things. So Lev I think would be a great spokesperson, because we've struggled with that in the past, because you're absolutely right when you say that businesses have typically been vehemently against food trucks because it's competition to their business. So I think Lev would be a great spokesperson for trying to help us figure out how to do that in such a way that we could promote people trying to do that business and also have that blend in with not making existing business owners, in a hardened building, figuring out how to make that work together. So
We're blending in, man. We're blending in.
Yeah.
Blender.
Yeah, because currently Gulfport doesn't allow food trucks either, and that's been the reason historically.
And what about
is
at
that
events, like at the Blues Fest? Will there be a food truck?
That I don't know yet. I'm not organizing the Blues Fest. We're just kind of supporting it
But like,
happening.
could like an
We have had
event,
them.
you can an event can
Yeah.
apply to get a food truck or.
Yeah, we've done that with vendors before,
Yeah.
for sure. So it all just depends on who's running the event. So yeah, there's been exceptions to it just in general. So you'd be a great spokesperson for that, Lev. And Laura, by the way, if you want to pass this along to your folks at the meeting, because we do have a Gulfport Food Forest / Food Trail in Clymer Park, and because we signed the Monarch Pledge, we don't use any artificial chemicals or pesticides or anything.
Wait a minute, now, is that just in that one park or all over the city?
We started it there, and so we're expanding that out because we use that as our sample place, because we were planning, we were working on a partnership. The partnership didn't really hold together too well, but we've still got all these plants there, and we've got people managing it, and so that was our sample place, because it's the whole idea is like not only for food security, but community awareness and education, is doing Florida friendly and Florida native plants that bear something edible, something we can use. So if you haven't walked that stretch in Clymer Park, that whole block between 22nd all the way down to the senior center, all those things that are planted along there were part of that operation, and we're actually looking for a part-time horticulturalist to be on staff to help us continue doing that forward. So we got somebody with the city. So we're looking for someone to do that, and we haven't filled that slot yet.
Okay.
So yeah.
Maybe I need a job. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, and that's so great that you mentioned the gig economy, because everybody's doing that. We've been doing that for years and just thought there was something wrong with us, that we didn't have this standard 45, 40-hour-a-week job.
Right.
But it's so nice to take the gig economy out of the shadows. It's like, that's what we do. There's no need to feel bad
It's more
about it,
fun.
you know?
It's more fun.
Yeah, you don't get bored as fast.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, I guess in the old days, if you had to do a gig economy, you were somehow lower.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you weren't important unless you had the job.
Right.
But now nobody has
The
the
pension
job.
and the
No.
gold watch and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
no pension, no gold watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no such
We don't even need a watch anymore, so I'm not going to, moan about that.
Yeah. So I'm pro gig economy. We've been doing it forever, though. It just wasn't a name for it until recently.
Right. We thought it was called being poor.
Oh, living a rich life now. That's
I
what
love
Laura
it.
said.
That's-
Yeah,
that's
brilliant,
much
Laura.
more
We like
positive.
that. Yeah. So, tell us some other good things that are happening in.
Well, I mentioned the little Trolley Market Square area at the end of Tangerine, on the old trolley route, on 49th Street in Tangerine. That's pretty much done now, so the Blues Festival will be our biggest one there. There's a little peninsular park behind, well, it's going to be a park. It's behind the Gulfport Municipal Marina. It's public land. The city's always owned it, but it was kind of grown over with Brazilian pepper and things like that. It was choking out the mangroves, so we're considering at this point, we still have to take a full vote on how it's going to be done in the end. But we've already started some of the work, removing the invasive. All the Brazilian pepper are gone. They're real bad because they outcompete native plants. So those are gone, and we're going to open that up, and it's just going to be pretty minimally impacted little strip of land that'll become a great place to go watch the sunset. I mean, it's pretty much just going to be a little pavilion, a trail out to it, and a picnic table. But it's this whole little area where you can go right out on the water, and you'll be able to access it. And we've now freed it up so the mangroves can grow better, because the seabirds love that. I mean, it's always got egrets and pelicans and night herons and everything nesting in there. So now we're just going to be able to provide people access to go out there and experience that, and still protect the nature component, because we did it in conjunction with a program called Living Shoreline that kind of takes care of that. It's got specific components you have to meet for that whole transitional ecotone between the marine environment and the land. So there's areas where we have to take care and make sure that seagrass is healthy there, and plant spartina and things like that, and also remove the invasives from the land side and make it a better habitat for Florida wildlife. So.
And do you find that the Gulfport City Council is all about Because for a while, being an ecological was like not very popular, you
Yeah.
know, because it was like sort of, but I guess times are changing. So do you
Yeah.
feel like it seems like
I feel like our current council is pretty supportive of those kind of things, and definitely, and it's great because our community is very supportive of those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, you'll still have some infighting, everyone's trying to get a common goal, but you still fight about how to get there. But, you know, if you've got people that care about their environment, if they care about diversity and equality in a population, and I mean, I think we're incredibly ahead of, I mean, I couldn't be mayor of a place that wasn't like that. I mean, look at me.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I'm not a suit and tie guy.
You know what's funny?
So it works out
when
very
they
well.
were first, when the food force was first starting, I can remember having conversations, and you talk to somebody, and they'd say, "Well, you can't plant fruit trees down there. The fruit is going to fall all over the ground, and there'll be rats, and it'll be nothing but a mess." And I'd go, "Okay." And then I'd talk to the next person. They go, "You can't plant fruit trees. Somebody's going to come, and they're going to pick every single fruit. They're not going to leave one. They're going to pick every single one, and there won't be any." And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, maybe it won't be either of those things. Maybe it'll be.
Yeah. So it's always a little bit of a fight, but in the end. And the other good one is we're St. Pete and the Water Management District have finally, because it's multi-jurisdictional area, we're going to have a connector going down 26th Avenue that will connect us to the Skyway Trail that'll run behind the retention ponds.
trail.
Yeah, the
A
Skyway
bike-
Trail, that's
yeah,
the bike
bike
trail, but
trail.
it'll be a bike pedestrian trail. Yeah.
You're welcome.
She always saves my butt.
I got your back.
Yeah, I know you do.
We like that.
But it'll connect us up to that Skyway Trail and on the St. Pete side of Clam Bayou, so that instead of going around before you can head down toward Fort DeSoto or the Pinellas Bayway, instead of having to go up on 22nd, which is an absolute miserable road to bike on, we'll be able to cut through on 22nd Avenue south, right out of Gulfport, and go on a trail right behind the retention ponds that connects to the Skyway Trail. So we'll have another bike connector from the east for us.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some good stuff going on.
Okay, let's get back to some artsy subjects.
Yeah,
You
thanks.
know, what, can you, now, you guys both sing in the same band.
Mhm.
That's good, so then one of you doesn't end up the rock and roll widow. That's what I call it when one member of the
Yeah.
couple is in a band.
Yeah.
The other one is what we call the rock and roll widow that has to stay home
Mhm.
while
Right.
their partner is out every Friday and Saturday night. So,
Yeah.
and have you all always been in a band together, or?
Long time.
Quite a bit. When we lived in Ohio, we were in a band called Hot Souse that was a blues-based band that was fairly successful. We gigged pretty regularly for
The
about
gig
5
economy?
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was part of our gig economy.
Yeah.
In the gig and the gig
Yeah,
economy.
recorded a couple albums, and actually some of that music is available on Spotify. It ended
Okay.
up on
Can
Spotify.
I say the name of the band again?
Hot Souse, S-O-U-S-E.
Souse, as in soused?
Souse.
Yeah.
Well,
What does
it's
souse mean?
It's actually, you tell them.
It's actually a food product. Well, I'm gonna go food product.
With quotes?
It's because it's kind of it's a southern meat thing.
Head meat.
Head meat, yeah. So it's sort of like what wasn't good enough to go into a hot dog, you can make souse out of.
Kind of like scrapple?
Well, a little bit
That's
worse,
even worse
than
than
that.
that.
Yeah, a little worse than that.
Not good enough for
It's the meat that scrapple like goes, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a funny name because it does kind of have a double meaning, being soused, and also this food product, which is just awful. That I don't recommend ever eating. I don't. We had it for a while in the house just because we ran across it in a grocery store in North Carolina or something.
Yeah.
But I don't believe we ever ate it.
No.
I don't even think we gave it to the dogs.
No.
My brother lives in Switzerland, and when he comes to visit, he always goes to, I think it's like Skyway Jacks or something where they serve scrapple. He wants
Yep.
to try some
Yeah. Oh
scrapple.
yeah.
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 There we go. Now, so do you guys write songs in your groups, or you all just cover?
We have. Yeah, we have in the past.
And how does that work? Who does the writing? And well,
We've done a little bit of both. We collaborated on them, and we had a gentleman named Adam who played with us when we first got started with Hot Tub Club, and he was one of those people that was very easy to write with. So you and he wrote a song together. Me and him did one together, and then I had some from some friends of mine up in North Carolina.
can we do?
so
I know you don't have a guitar player, but can we do some more a cappella singing here?
I'll try something that I haven't finished. I can just do a little piece
Okay,
of
yeah, this is something. This is a little
All
piece
right.
of something
Okay,
that we're working
okay.
on. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Good.
I dreamed I was the snowfall left on the mountaintop in spring, and the warm wind from the valley, it rose up and melted me. So I rippled down the mountainside and washed into the stream. I watered earth and animal and flowed into the sea. That's about all I got so far.
Oh, yeah, we like that. That is great. Thank you. Yeah.
But I want to thank her because I've always enjoyed singing. But if I hadn't met Laura and she hadn't been such a good kind of coach in both getting my confidence to sing and also teaching me how to be a singer, like the actual physical part of how to sing and open my mouth and not mumble and all those good things, I wouldn't have been able to do this. And because of her, I've been able to be in a couple of really fun and, in my mind, successful bands. Because to me, it was successful because I loved it.
Well, successful
And
in
it
your
was all
gigging.
actually because of her and the people she introduced me to, and it's been a lot of fun.
Say.
Yeah.
Right, wow. Well, thank you so much. Laura, is there anything else you need to share with the group before we get off the stage?
Can I talk about a nighttime bike parade?
Sure.
A pending nighttime bike parade to kick off Pride weekend in St. Pete. We did it a couple of years ago, and I'd love to bring that back. I believe the tentative date is the 21st, which is the solstice. Longest day of the year, so that kind of pushes our start time back just a wee bit, because I would love people to put lights on their bikes. We did it. It was so much fun when we did it before, but we didn't wait quite long enough in the day to begin. So everybody had all these fantastic lights on their bikes, including me. And then we were done, and then the sun went down. So we're gonna try to tweak that a little bit and just have a Pride nighttime bike parade.
Yeah.
On the 21st, and so we'll put all that information out on Facebook and get the word out. Probably put a little thing in the Gabber about that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Yay! Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna sing. Hey, you guys can stay up here. We're gonna sing "Carry My Rain in a Bushel Basket." You
All
can
right.
hum along.
Okay.
Lev, bring your little instrument up
I
here.
love your singing and playing too.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely got some mountain roots in you.
Well, I don't know what it is. Let's see. Where do we put Lev so he's in our picture?
Yeah, I'll scoot out of the way.
Everybody scoot.
We'll move one.
Come a little closer.
Move
Come
one
a little
place.
closer. Everybody. Okay. We're in A.
We still need to be closer because he's not in.
You guys have to share a chair.
Okay. Here.
Perfect.
Don't jump freight trains when they roll by. Don't like the blues, I'll tell you why. Go downtown when I wanna smoke, and I'm treating life like a joke. Won't go sitting in my neighbor's yard, 'cause he's been working mighty hard. I go downtown, but I don't wear shoes, and I don't sing the blues.
rain in a bushel basket. Carry my rain in a bushel basket. Let the sun shine through.
Let your sun shine through. I want to thank you all. Lord, come here, Laura. I want to thank everybody for having been on the show. Yay! All right, if you want to support the show, please go to patreon.com and The Laura Shepherd Show. You can hear it as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and let us know if you feel like you need to be on the show. Bye. Bye.